Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in once again. And today we're going on a little bit of a different tangent. So most of the time I talk about Leafs hockey. It's my favourite kind of hockey to talk about. It's where my passion lies, whatever, right? But I get a lot of questions about UK hockey because obviously that's where I spend my money and time in person going to, are those games. So I thought today I would do a little Q&A on UK hockey things. So I put out on Twitter if anyone had any questions to ask me, and there were so many. So I'm not going to get through all of them because I could be here for hours, but I've picked out some and I can definitely make more of these if this is something people are interested in learning about. I really enjoy UK hockey. It's good to go to, but it's quite different from people who maybe just watch NHL and stuff, and I feel like it's one of those, we have leagues here that I don't feel like anyone else outside of the UK often knows about. Actually, people in the UK sometimes don't know about it, and I just wanted to talk about that and talk about UK hockey in general because it's something I care about, and I like talking about things I care about, and I like also kind of using a platform to make people more aware of the leagues that exist here in the UK. So let's jump into that. So I put out on Twitter asking for questions, and as usual you guys did so good basically. So I had a few questions basically about the kind of structure of hockey in the UK. So would you explain the various tiers of professional hockey in the UK and relate their level of competition to North American leagues? And I had some other questions kind of similar to this, so I'll answer in one. So in terms of professional hockey, there's one league. There's the EIHL, or the Elite Ice Hockey League, and that is our professional one here in the UK. And a lot of the players come from the ECHL and leagues kind of that level, so I suppose that's kind of where it's comparable to. And as much as it's a pro league, don't be fooled into thinking it's, you know, NHL or even AHL level of hockey. It's not, because hockey over here is very different, so I don't feel like it's really comparable. So the EIHL is made up of 10 teams. There's 5 in England, 3 in Scotland, 1 in Ireland and 1 in Wales, and so it's a whole UK-wide league. Is there just one league in the UK? Where are most of the players from? So, you know, this kind of links into the first question. There is only one pro league, but there are other leagues. There's the Scottish National League, which is the SNL, and then there's the NIHL, which is the National Ice Hockey League, and that is, the SNL is the Scottish League, and the NIHL is the English League with 2 divisions, but there's one Scottish team in the North Division, Solway, because they're near the Scottish-English border, so they go in that league. And those leagues are made up predominantly of British people, like it's mainly Brits that play on them, but the Elite League is predominantly imports. So I'll pop up here kind of the nationalities on the roster of the Stars, and you'll see that most of them are Canadian and nearly all of them are imports, because there's a lack of British people coming through the ranks, sadly, in hockey, and it's a shame because when they do, they are really good. So, but most of the players are Canadian, they're not from here. Next question is, do the Dundee Stars have a farm team like the Leafs do with the Marlies? So yes and no. As I just said, the SNL is the league below in Scotland, and in Dundee we have the Dundee Comets and also the Dundee Tigers who play in that league. So technically we do have some people come up from there into the Stars, but generally, as you can see from the rosters, it's mainly imports that we bring in, which is a shame because sometimes local talent I think can be missed out on because there isn't the same opportunities for it to grow. But technically we do, yeah, we have 2 other teams in Scotland where a lot of youth players and whatever play and get experience before they come up and play for the Stars, and that's generally how local players will end up on the pro team, is through coming through, I suppose, grassroots hockey, whatever you want to call it, farm team, whatever phrase you want to use. So yeah. Couple questions about sponsorships and ads in terms of on jerseys and etc. So European hockey is known for being covered in sponsors/ads. Most in North America find it way too cluttered and don't like it. I keep hearing about the NHL about to add on a couple to their jerseys. As someone who is used to all those sponsors on jerseys, what are your thoughts? So I'll pop up the jerseys here. I have a huge jerseys collection. Most of them are from my local team and they are covered in sponsors, as you can see from here. And I don't love it, right? I'm not going to sit here and lie. I don't love it. I think it does look quite cluttered and I don't really like the way it looks. And I'm someone who likes aesthetically pleasing things, and so I don't love when there's strange coloured logos and stuff all over the jerseys, or the ice for that matter. Actually, insert here a picture of Sheffield's ice, which is something else in terms of sponsorship. So, you know, people complaining about the NHL adding one or two, try watching a game when the ice looks like this. Anyway, I don't love it, but I do admit that it is needed for the money across here. We're not a well-funded league. Hockey's not a well-funded sport in the UK, and so it just is a necessity. And as much as it doesn't always look the best, it's just one of those things that we kind of have to put up with because we need the money. But I really don't think the NHL should be taking that route. The NHL has the money to not do that, so I really think they should be avoiding it. I don't think it makes anything look aesthetically better, and it can look quite messy, and especially the jerseys can be bad enough, but when the ice gets covered in them, it actually ruins the flow of the game because you lose the puck on the ice, which I really don't like. So no, I don't love them. I don't want the NHL to do it, but I accept that European teams need to do that for funding, so it's just something that I would accept, but I don't love it at all. Next question has 3 questions within it, so we'll go through this. So, which rink are you looking forward to visiting the most that you haven't already? Cardiff, to be honest. I haven't been to Cardiff's rink yet. I really like a lot of Cardiff fans. Like, I find generally their fans are quite nice people. I mean, every fan base has people who aren't, but I found generally Cardiff fans are quite nice, so I'd be looking forward to going and visiting there at some point. I also want to visit Cardiff as a place, so that's probably another reason why. But yeah, that's probably the one I would look forward to visiting the most, just for geographical reasons, and also I quite like watching us play Cardiff. I quite like watching Dundee play Cardiff, so I would definitely be most looking forward to visiting there, I would say. Who is Dundee's biggest rival? The Five Flyers. Need I say any more? If you know, you know. And who is your favourite EIHL player of all time? Vinny Scarcella. He played for the Dundee Stars in the 16-17 season. It was when I started watching hockey. He was the first player on the ice. I remembered his name. He was my first favourite player, so ever since then, you know, that's probably my all-time favourite player. So next up, who do you see winning the league this year? I'll pop up the current standings here. These were right on the 18th of January when I filmed this. I think definitely Sheffield and Belfast are making away with it, as you can see, especially Belfast. But there's something, I can definitely see Sheffield running away with it for some reason. They have like this annoying consistency. But I think Sheffield or Belfast will run away with it this year. So not my team. Not my team is basically the answer to that. I quite like this one. So, do the fans sing/chant like they do at football, soccer games? If so, could you film it and post it someday? Thanks in advance. So yeah, obviously the football, soccer culture is huge over here, so it spills into every other sport. It's the main sporting culture that exists here, so any other sport it kind of spills over into. So there's a lot of singing, chanting, whatever, which is really nice and creates like really good atmosphere. I love it. And could I film it and post it? I would, yeah, I'll post that on Twitter sometimes. I'm always cautious, just because my following on Twitter is getting kind of bigger, and I always don't want to, you know, film or take pictures of people without them knowing and then post it, because so many people will see it. I don't want to make people feel uncomfortable in any way, but I could definitely film it just so you get like the noise of the crowd and stuff, because it can be pretty good, and yeah, I could definitely do that. So next up, do these guys have full or part-time jobs in addition to those playing, or do they make enough to just play hockey full-time? In the Pro League, it's definitely like a full-time job. 100% is a full-time job. Whereas in the SNL and EIHL, those guys all work other usually full-time jobs and then they play hockey. Really hard-working guys. But yeah, just it depends, and you know, the money in the EIHL is definitely something I could do an entire video talking about, because the funding between clubs varies and it's a bit of an issue. But yeah, in terms of the playing pro, it's definitely a full-time job. And then part 2 of the question, how worried are you that the pandemic shutdowns could cause irreparable damage to smaller leagues like the EIHL? Like, could it end the league, or is it safe? This is something that I feel really, really passionate about. So I was definitely worried during the full lockdowns. There wasn't hockey for, you know, 18 months or something like that in the UK, and I was so worried it was just never going to come back because it doesn't have the same funding. The Scottish Government tends to support other sports ahead of hockey because it's obviously it's not the most popular across here, so it makes sense, but sadly it's sometimes lacks the support that I think it really needs. And currently in the UK the restrictions vary between all 4 nations, and because the league is split across all 4 nations, it means that constantly just now attendance restrictions and restrictions within the buildings are entirely different from one another. So right now as I'm filming this, Scotland has a capacity of 200 on indoor sports. So my rink holds 2,400 people and it is restricted to 200 currently. So you can imagine the impact that's having on finance and money and just the club in general. Whereas if you cross the border and go into England, they have full capacity in their rinks. So I'm definitely very concerned for especially Scottish teams, because the Scottish teams already have funding issues in the first place. There seems to be a lack of financial support for them, and also currently as I'm talking they're being hit the hardest by restrictions still. So I'd like to think that the league is reasonably safe, but I'd always be concerned that it might not be, and some clubs are definitely more vulnerable than others, and sadly the Scottish clubs are definitely among the most vulnerable. So yeah, it's still a concern now. I feel better because hockey has come back in some, you know, way, and I was worried it wasn't going to for a time, but I'm still concerned about the future of hockey, especially in Scotland, in terms of funding and finance, because that's a problem here, and the pandemic has definitely impacted it a lot, and you can't deny the impact that the pandemic has had and is still having on hockey. But just need to try and make the best of it, try and support your clubs where you can, and just enjoy hockey while you have it. No point worrying about the future too much, I suppose. Next question, if you could play a position on the Dundee Stars, what position would you want to be? Also, how did you first discover hockey? Did you flick on a game or attend one or get introduced by a friend? Like, how? So I would like to be a coach. I feel like a coach would suit my personality the best. I don't think I'd be cut out to be a player, and I really like motivating people and inspiring people, and obviously that's, you know, a main purpose of a coach. And I just think being a coach would be really fun. I'm in no way qualified for any of those positions. Don't get me wrong. I should not be able to do any of them. I'm not qualified, and there's so many people who are super qualified for those roles. But if hypothetically, if I was qualified for them, I would definitely want to be a coach, I think. I think that would be really fun. And how did I first discover hockey? Someone took me for free one night, like out of the blue. I was just sitting and they texted me and were like, do you want to like come to the rink and watch hockey? I was like, sure, why not? And 5 minutes in I was absolutely hooked, even though I had no knowledge of the game when I first went. But yeah, someone introduced me and I've been obsessed ever since. Okay, final question for today is king/queen for a day. What 3 changes do you make to the EIHL? So I think I could do a whole separate chat about problems that the EIHL has, but if I'm going to just list 3 kind of quick ones here because I don't want to keep you guys all day, I would say the first one is their use of media exposure. It's definitely picking up since when I first started watching, and Premier Sports now broadcast a lot of the games, and we're now kind of getting on the news, and sometimes I turn on my news and my team are on it, which is great. but I feel like there could still be better media exposure given to the sport to try and grow it and try and encourage people to come either try out playing or even just come support, because a lot of people aren't even aware of hockey in this country, even when they live in a city where there's a team. So, you know, the media exposure could definitely be improved, and there's a lot of amazing people work in the media in that league and they work great jobs in social media and stuff, but I would love to see better use of both press media and social media within the league, because I feel like the sport could be grown a lot further than what it is just now. I also think financial changes could definitely be improved, and I know there's only so much the league can kind of control in terms of this, because if you're not receiving the funding you're not getting it, but I would love, if I kind of was able to get more funding for the league, I would love to see a salary cap put in place and some kind of equality found in terms of money between the teams, because some teams are so much wealthier than others in the league, and typically it turns out that they end up at the top of the league while the poorer teams turn out at the bottom, and it would really improve the equality between the teams, which ultimately makes for better games, because you don't want just predictable hockey over and over again. So that would definitely be something I'd love to see an improvement in. And finally, I think I would have to say the playoff structure. Playoff weekend is great fun, but it just doesn't really make sense that when you've got a 10-team league that 8 of them qualify for playoffs, because it's kind of like, what are you playing for all season then? Because once the Challenge Cup's done, all you're playing for is playoffs, and if, you know, 8 out of 10 are getting in, it just doesn't seem the most competitive to me. I get some people love the playoff structure. Me personally, I would like to see maybe more rounds getting into playoffs between a smaller group of teams or something. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure how I would change it. But personally for me, I think that the playoff structure could be a lot better than what it is currently. But I can't complain. I'm just glad to have hockey back, honestly. I'm not even going to complain too much. I'm just so grateful to have hockey back again. So I know most people that watch my content are North American and are kind of intrigued by the UK League, and if there's anything else you want to ask me, please just like leave it below or like tweet me. Put my social medias up here as usual, because hockey Twitter is basically like a home to me now. And people also ask me about where you can watch the games. So most teams have a webcast. It's quite expensive, it's £15 a game, but you have to understand we really need the money right now. So if anyone is really interested in watching a game, I will leave a list of links down below to where you can find all the webcasts, and I'll leave a link to the fixtures list too if you just maybe want to keep up with it online. All of the teams have social medias and YouTube pages and stuff like that, so you know, if you could support the league in any way whatsoever, it would be much appreciated, because I'd love for more people to be interested in, you know, my league that I spend all my time here watching. So I would really appreciate that, so I'll leave lots of links and information down below. So yeah, thank you for watching guys. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe. I am so grateful for all the lovely feedback I've had on videos so far, and I really enjoy doing these. It's good fun. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with more hockey chats soon. Bye guys.